Hey everyone, I'm Evan here. Um, I just broke. If you're watching this video, that means that I just broke through a huge block that um has been keeping me from uploading the past. What has it been, like 2 weeks now? Either way, um, and if you're wondering what that block is what is that block? That block is that it's like the more YouTube videos I did, like over that like big run where I did like that like 30 that big run where I did like 33 videos in 32 days. Um, and many of them being like 15, 20, 30 minutes long each. Um, what's interesting is that the more videos I did, it's really fascinating. It's like I just felt an ever greater need to edit myself until I just sort of like edited myself into a hole. And for my fellow autistic people out there, it's like that sort of metaphorically means it's like I had edited myself so much to where it's like I couldn't even like bear to show myself like out on the internet anymore. Um there's so many different ways to describe this. Um and and they've been slipping my mind. That being said, I'm here in front of the camera today because I have opted not to edit myself, because even though like in the time when I had like shared because like even though in the time when I had like initially like started sharing videos, I was saying I'm not gonna edit these videos like in the sense that like what you like see like like what you see is in like the end result like isn't gonna be edited, like no like like no text, no cuts or anything like that. Uh uh um and I've certainly done that. But that being said, um like my insecurities started getting the better of me in the sense that like I started thinking like, oh, if I'm not going to edit my videos, then it's like I better start editing the way that I do my unedited videos, like whenever I step in front of the camera and just speak to it. Because the thing is that like, um, I gradually got ever more ensnared into this thought loop where it's like, if I'm not something that, hey, to where it was like, if I'm not something that people can like find familiar because they've already seen because they've already seen it from somebody else, then it's like they won't like me and they won't like like watch my videos and they won't like connect with me, like which is really what I would want y'all to do, like would want you to do. It's like I'm really like the thing is that like my main purpose for like creating these YouTube videos is to or um is to do so is to do so so that I can connect with like you and anybody else who wants to watch any of my videos. And so all that to say, um I'm doing a new exercise where I don't like like it's funny. I have um um it's funny saying that just then reminded me of a lyric in one of my songs off my third album, and the album. It's called How I Came to Be, and the song is track 12. It's called Life Off, and it's funny because like I say like I, I say we got a new perspective where I do not perfect it, and so it's like yeah. And the thing is that honestly, it's like as far as like the existence of perfection, like the thing is that nobody can really like confirm or deny the existence of perfection. Like it might exist, but that being said, if we base it off of that definition, then by definition, perfection is an incomprehensible concept. It's unreachable, like by proxy. And so, and the thing is that that might seem really trite whenever you're like as much of a recovering perfectionist as I am. But that being said, it's really it's like after you sit with it for a good time, in my case it was 4 or 5 years. um Essentially what you find is that oh, there's actually something to that. It's like the thing is that like it it helps to validate like all of your effort in trying to make things perfect by like by the by accepting that by accepting that by by accepting the idea that maybe I wasn't actually chasing nothing like everybody else was like trying to gaslight me into believing. Like maybe perfection does exist out there. But that being said, like what you like come to real or rather what I've come to realize and what I imagine other people in my position have is that perfection's not the goal. Like, and it's funny because even that sounds trite, like I'm hearing it out loud. But the thing is that like perfection's not the goal in the sense that like 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 if you give anything in life a good try, then it's just like, hey, I did it. Even then it's like, hey, I did it, even though it turned out slash even if it turned out like different, even if it turned out different from what I wanted or expected, or eh, like it still turned like I still did my best. Uh, and you might be asking, like, so if that's the case, like if an inner version of me thinks that, then like where does this idea of perfection come from? And you're actually onto the right idea. It comes from outside. It's extrinsic in nature in the sense that you like growing up, like you were taught a certain idea of what things were good, bad, right, wrong, correct, incorrect, up, down, left, right, all these different things. And the thing is that as helpful as all of those things can stand to be, like in specific, in in many of the specific cases they're applied to, I think I think a mistake was made in not telling us, like as kids, like adults and caregivers and authority figures, not telling, and society in general, not telling us as kids that that things can exist outside of the sort of binary that was first introduced to us. And it's funny because like this kind of explains like how cancel culture and the dysfunction of cancel culture at its core, it stems from an intolerance of, shall I say, alternative thought, you know? That being said, this has been an interesting way to start the video. That being said, this isn't exactly like this isn't the main as great as as great as these like pieces of subject matter are, they in fact they're not the main reason I turned on the camera today. Like actually I have a thought piece that I put on Threads that I want to read to slash with y'all. Um and you can think of it as sort of like a bedtime story that like induces a massive state of cognitive dissonance like in people who can't accept like opposing ideas. Um and it's actually what the title of the video suggests, in the sense that I can be selfish and save the world at the same time. That being said, um I, before I start reading you this bedtime story, I definitely would like to say um 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 thank the fates, thank whoever's in charge here, thank source, thank God, thank the universe, thank whatever, thank everything for the return of Lincoln Park. There are a lot of different opinions and things out there, and it's funny because cancel culture is playing a big role in how this entire event is being perceived as well. But that being said, like as a lifelong fan of Lincoln Park, I've been a fan since In the End came out in 2001. It technically came out in 2000, but it hit the radio in 2001, and that's when I heard it. I was 3. But that being said, like as a lifelong fan of Lincoln Park, as a lifelong fan of Lincoln Park, basically, like I, it's like I couldn't be happier for this for this particular evolution of the band. Um, and it's funny because seeing it as an evolution is actually proving to be the source of a huge or the source apparent of a huge dizzying amount of cognitive dissonance that a lot of people are sort of having as a reaction to this event. Um, and it's funny because almost as if to like pour gasoline onto an already blazing fire of cognitive dissonance, I have something else that can induce even greater states of cognitive dissonance in people um, who aren't um, who aren't who aren't exactly willing to hold perspectives that differ from their own in their own consciousness in their own mind. Um, um, and so that being said, and also, if y'all want me to share more of my thoughts about the eh, the like stuff surrounding the evolution and return and resurgence of Linkin Park, because I have many thoughts about it. Please let me know in a comment if you would like to hear that from me. Um, and personally, I think it would be really and personally, I think it would be really cool to have something of a conversation. That being said, I do have a valid fear that it could become really um toxic, which like in and of itself I'm not really that afraid of. It just more so like I'm still working on like getting to where I can like keep myself emotionally and somatically regulated in the face of a bunch of like adversity and negativity and different things like that. I'm hoping it doesn't grace like my channel. But that being said, I know that it's in a lot of places out there. Like a lot of people, like they it's like I can tell that they're speaking from a place of pain, but it's difficult for them to actually subconsciously understand that they're speaking more so from a place of pain that's about something else that's about something else that is connected to this to them. But the issue that I have is that they're not conscious of it, and it's like people like talking out of the side of their neck. But the thing is that a lot of people like they just demonize that sort of thing, and they're just like, haha, for shame. It's like you're talking out of the side of your neck. But the thing is though, like coming from me, like it's not really that it's not really that it's not really that um it's not really that cut and dry, because I understand the pain that these people feel, because it's like I absolutely went through Chester's loss along with everyone else, like probably the third worst day of my life. um Specifically the day that he died, for like context. But that being said, the thing is that I have so many different thoughts about that, and that could be another video. And so if you want it to be another video, just let me know, okay? um that being said, this video, it's meant to be about this particular thing that I have to share with y'all, which is a thought piece slash bedtime story that I have for you. A bedtime story that will induce, at least on some level, a state of cognitive dissonance in you. Let's continue to add more. Let's continue to add more alternative perspectives in the world, such that we can actually show people that the world won't um, explode as it continues to expand to accommodate these like larger like amounts of perspectives and ideas, and just like interpretation monopoly. That's something else that I'm probably going to be talking about until it's not a concept that that equal parts pervades and destroys the world. So anyways, so at the risk of being perceived as negatively selfish, I will say this. I don't help people of the world just for the sake of helping them. I help them so that they can be emotionally well enough to take in and digest what I have to share with them. I did an exercise, a thought exercise specifically, about my main motivations in life a few months ago. I came up with three, and they are all dependent on one another, kind of like humanity itself. It's funny. Yeah. So, like my first motivation is one, to learn; two, to create, which is a form of learning; and three, to share my creations and my ideas otherwise with the world, which is actually kind of what I'm doing right now. Um, for someone who has as big a heart to help as I do, you may find it interesting that helping people is not even on that list. I can tell you why. I never wanted to live in a world where people needed my help, and that they especially needed it because they were all hurting. In other words, I wanted people to just be well enough to listen to me and what I had to share with them. I've been called cold, unattuned, diagnosed as being autistic, and people often connect all of those together because of how they perceive people like me. I'm not cold. I'm just intolerant of pain prolonged to the point that it capitulates into the bottomless pit known as suffering. I have no qualms about saying that I absolutely hate it with a passion. um, specifically suffering. But let's but let's explore the word intolerance for a second. It basically means you can't put up with something. And if you're and if you're as upfront about your existence as I am, you put everything you have into getting rid of it, like imminently. Now, hear me out here. Just because I can't tolerate something and that I make it my enemy doesn't mean I have to be cruel in my execution of my goal to purge it from my experience. I found out a few years ago that if you attack your pain, you also succeed in attacking a part of yourself. I did so, and it left me with more of what I don't tolerate, more hurt, suffering specifically. If I look at my suffering or that of the world as something that is wrong, I can't do a wrong as opposed to like beneficial versus detrimental. Excuse me. I sort of think of those last two as a ratio. I can't do a good job of taking that suffering away, not from me or anyone. I don't invalidate people's suffering because I don't find it helpful to do so, and my heart to help is as big as my home, Texas, by the way. I want to validate it instead. But understand that I only wish to validate and alleviate the suffering of others so that they can live better, so that they stand to not misunderstand me as a person, nor the creations or other ideas I give to them. I encourage you to consider. I'm gonna put more body into this sentiment. Eh, Yeah, I encourage I encourage you to consider me as selfish. I absolutely am selfish and I am proud to be. I also encourage you to reevaluate the idea that being selfish can only ever mean to put yourself first at the exclusion of others. I am a deeply selfish person who realizes that my life will become better by helping people in the specific ways that they each stand to be helped. Why does it work this way for me? Because I see everyone and everything else in this universe as a part of me. Me. And by the way, that includes you. Yes, you specifically watching this. It's funny. It's funny. It's just like Matty Healy said. It's like make art that makes the listener slash like slash consumer like slash person experiencing it feel personally addressed. And it's funny because that really resonated with me, that idea, because like honestly I really like love that about like any sort of art, and that's honestly why I have stuff on vinyl, CDs, like or just or paintings or anything like that. Like I just keep art that overall just makes me feel as though I've been personally addressed by that art. Anyways, the way I see it, we can't keep progressing as a species as long as we are spinning our wheels 24/7, 365/6 times infinity. constantly solving problems in our world, whatever planet we may find ourselves on. There have to be some things that we do just for joy, not also to fix something in the process. I am acutely aware of this stuff because in a world without suffering, I would just be in my room learning, creating, and when I have something to share, sharing it with you guys. Kind of like I'm doing right now. um, I'd be happy. I've realized that that is my main purpose for this life specifically. Saving the world is more of a professional courtesy, so to speak, done with so much fervor so as to serve my aforementioned pre existing purposes. It's very much like if you're. It's very much like if you take a lion cub from their mother, like the force that the mother comes over to attack you with, like it's not as simple as like you took my son. It's like you're messing with my purpose in life. You're screwing with you're screwing with the progression of my species, my doing my part to do that. And honestly, that's really the way that I perceive suffering. It's like pain can be a great teacher, but pain without resolve, that's suffering. And suffering really, I don't think that it serves that much of a purpose beyond like helping people to understand that they don't want to suffer in life. And so, yeah, it's very much like it's like I target suffering as the thing that I want to alleviate from the world. In very much like a basically animalistic sense, in the sense that it's like you're screwing with my purpose here. You're screwing with my existence, you know? Because the creating and the learning, what it's like those are things that I can do and that I can sort of facilitate of my own volition. Those are things that are autodidactic in nature. In fact, learning itself, it's like if you teach yourself to learn, you are by definition an autodidact. Like that being said, it's the third one that hey, hey, it's like all my life it's the third one that I've been having trouble with because people haven't been in a position to really to take my stuff in the way that I would want them to because of their own sort of like because of their own sort of trauma and the suffering that they're still going through like in the wake of that trauma. And so it's like I help people so that they can actually be emotionally well enough and attuned enough to actually take in my ideas and take in my creations and absorb them for all that they can possibly be worth to each individual person. And I saved the world because people seem to be having a lot of trouble being attuned with themselves in order to actually take my stuff in without rejecting it, and or by extension me as the person who actually gave it to them. Like it's a deeply proverbial version of shooting the messenger. That being said, it's funny because it's like thinking about it that way and with that logic, as people say, like I don't blame people for like wanting to shoot the messengers. Sure, and personally, I find it kind of dismissive for someone to just say don't shoot the messenger because it's like, wait a minute, they if another human being actually went through with attacking another human being, I feel like there was actually a pretty good reason to do that. But that being said, it's like I'm not saying that that reason is more like is morally right per se. I'm just more so saying that it's valid and it's important, and because it's valid, it ought not to be invalidated. Like I just don't find it beneficial to invalidate it. I don't. I've got a hunch that if you've watched the video this far, like you understand what I mean by that. So I'm going to wrap this thought piece up. Um, yeah. So at the end of the day, I can be acutely selfish and help save the world at the same time. Yes, I exist. Good talk. I hope this makes sense to more than just me. Evan. Um, yeah, so that's basically it. Um, I'm not sure if it's more postmodern to like specifically call this a sign. I was just watching the video on MTV Classic of Phil Collins' "Don't Lose My Number." I, I- it's so funny because like in the mid '80s, like postmodernism was still like a brand new thing. It was basically what like contemporary and cancel culture is today. In the sense that like making a postmodern music video about a music video was actually like a really like groundbreaking idea back then. Um, but that being said, nowadays I'm not sure if it's more postmodern to say that what I'm about to say is a sign off in typical classic YouTube fashion, or to just say it. And my inclination is more so to just say it. My intuition is just guiding myself to say, I love you. I think that you're awesome. I am so glad that you exist among us today. And I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching this whole video, by the way. Bye.